Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to another live chat with us on Talk to East Turkestan. Today, I have a very special guest coming in all the way from Norway. We have a Uyghur linguist, writer. His name is Abduweli Ayup, and he will be sharing with us some of the work that he does, and we'll be touching on two very important issues, which we will go into later. But I want to first just welcome Mr. Abduweli Ayup, and he will tell us about what we're going to talk about today. Welcome, Mr. Abduweli Ayup. How are you today?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to the friends and our listeners and viewers.
Thank you so much. Obviously, we're going to be touching on two very important issues, but before we get into that, could you just explain to our audience who you are, what you have been doing as a Uyghur activist for the Uyghur people?
I am Abduweli Ayup, and I'm a linguist, and I keep doing some academic and some social works about Uyghur linguistics rights. And I had mother language kindergarten in Kashgar in 2011. And because of that, I was imprisoned in 2013, August 19. And I was in jail about 15 months. And then I got a chance to Turkey, and I was in Turkey since 2015, August to 2019, May. And in 2000 May, I got a scholarship from International PEN ICORN program. And because of this program support, I came to Norway, and I'm working on my projects, and I'm working on linguistics rights about Uyghur, and compiling books about Uyghur, and teaching Uyghur in our community here. Yeah, I have been doing this.
I mean, many people think, what does a linguist have to do with the Uyghurs' plight or their role as a Uyghur activist? Could you just slightly touch upon the not just the oppression physically that's happening to the Uyghurs or religiously, language-wise, linguistic-wise, what is happening to the Uyghurs in Chinese-occupied East Turkestan right now? What must people understand about this issue?
First of all, our language is core of our identity, and our main difference with the majority Han Chinese, and we have our distinctive language, and our language preserve our culture, and core of our culture is Islam from our the beginning of our life till at the end of our life, and we live in Islam, live with Islam, and our culture is very like conjunction with the Islam belief. That's why our identity is threat to Chinese Communist Party, and the core of our identity is our language and the religion and our culture. And I think that's the reason, like Chinese government attack our language and religion and the culture. And recently, I'm working on imams imprisoned by Chinese government. Why I am doing this? Because mosque is our only place we can speak Uyghur, and we can communicate the Uyghur, and we can exchange idea, and we can promote our belief and promote our culture. That's the place. Another place Chinese government destroying our shrines. And why? Because shrines, we practice our religion there. For example, we pray our ancestors, and we get together, and we have very small amount of people, and we come together and pray our ancestors, and like feel Uyghurness among them. And that's why Chinese government recently mainly target Islamic shrines and mosques. And like, because of imams and the religious figures are always the main character in this cultural religious activity, and they arrested those, like Chinese government arrested those religious figures because of this two important places in our Uyghur culture, like mosques and our shrines.
Okay, so let's get right into that. You are actually compiling a list of Uyghur imams who have been either detained or have been killed by the Chinese regime. Could you please talk about why you have started this very important project and why you've decided to archive this, and what is the point, or what's the final goal in doing this?
I started collecting the names of arrested imam, and it's 2019. It's about March, and since that time, I collected 518 imams, and I confirmed all of them through their relatives in different countries. And also I used Chinese websites, because in every provinces there is a Islamic association. It's government supported Islamic association. Just it's a puppet of Chinese Communist Party, so-called Islamic association. And in their website, you can find government appointed imams for every mosque. And I searched government-based Islamic association, and after that I found out that most of imams, there is a name but there is nothing about them. Even some of them deleted, their names also deleted. And then next step, I asked people from those areas, for example, that I found also Islamic Association, their website, and after I checked it, I found out that Ahmed Mehmet Niyaz, the president of Islamic Association, disappeared.
Wow.
And then I asked the people in somewhere in the world, and they told me that he has been arrested. And I also searched about another imam, Imin Damullah. He's from Kiria, and maybe our brothers know that Kiria Mosque, more than 800 years history, demolished in 2018. And the religious scholar and the president of a local Islamic association, Iman Damullah, arrested. And I searched the web, and I found out that he disappeared, and any link about him also you couldn't open. And then I asked my friend and my volunteers in Turkey and Norway. I confirmed that he has been arrested. Not only him, in 2015 he led the pilgrimage group to Saudi Arabia. At the time, in his list there is 130 people, and because of he listed those people also being arrested. It means that not only Iman Damullah arrested, his friends and the people around him also being arrested, just because of they went to pilgrimage in 2015 with government pilgrimage delegation. So it's a cruel reality, and it's humanitarian disaster happening in East Turkestan. And I think it's important for me and for every Uyghur in free world. And another reason I'm doing this, because I had been to different places in Turkestan, and I visited those places, and I visited those shrines and mosques, and I had conversation with our imams as a linguist. At the end, those lovely friends and nice people and very peaceful scholars being arrested, it's not the way just we do our business. We need to do something. We need to at least we need to tell the world that they are innocent. They are the imams working with the government, working for the government. They are practicing their religion peacefully, and they even cooperated with the Chinese government and lead Chinese delegation to the Mecca. And what's going on there? Of course, they cannot talk. The people inside, it's impossible, and international media mostly cannot reach them right now. So it's our responsibility to talk about them and make their voice around the world. And I think it's only the way we can do here, because they are not the number on the list. They are people being tortured in concentration camp. I had been experienced those physical and emotional torture. And why we keep silence, why we don't speak up. It's impossible to keep silence. So I choose the way to search about them and confirm their cases, and I'm still working on it. But the first step I already finished, and I enlisted the 518 imams.
So, in the Muslim world, even in places throughout the Middle East, you do hear stories of imams being killed or imams disappearing, but China take it to another level. Now, I'm going to play a little clip here, and this clip is genuine. I'll play it for you, and I want the audience to tell me what they think they're watching, and then I'll explain what you're actually watching. Okay? Okay, guys, what you are watching, okay, this is real. There are many clips out there like this, and the clip's title is Imams Dancing to Little Apple in Uchturpan in Xinjiang, or what we say is Turkestan. It's not just the killing or disappearing of Uyghurs. Yani, that would be, if these imams were to die, then, that they are martyred. But the Chinese regime humiliates Islam or humiliates Muslims, and they force imams to dance. And in this case, the song they're dancing to, Little Apple, if you watch the film clip, and it's very disgusting, they replicate the Prophet Adam and Hawa, his wife, and it's basically a disgusting clip about the apple or the fruit that they eat from the tree. So the Chinese regime do their very best to not just destroy. I mean, a lot of Muslim countries do, oppress the imams that speak against the government, but China take it to another level. What can you tell us about, what's the mentality behind this humiliating of Muslims?
It happened when I was in China. This little apple dance not only forced people to dance in Uchturpan, it happened to everywhere in East Turkestan, every major Uyghur-dominated city, and the Chinese CCP local branch forced imams to play this little apple dance. It means that I think in Uyghur community, the imams are very respectful, and they lead cultural practice and the religious practice. And first of all, Chinese government humiliate them. It means that you are nothing. We can humiliate your religious figures, religious leaders, who you are. Who do you think you are? You are nothing in front of us. You have no choice instead of obeying us, listening to us. That's the mentality that like demolish and destroy your spiritual power, your dignity. And then they will think that we can do everything. First of all, I will demolish your spirit, your spiritual power. And then the next step, you will listen to us, you will obey us, whatever we will do. I think this is the mentality behind this. And another thing that it's very recent that in this year, May, Chinese government in local branch, they decided that to have it's very bad, like a pig farm in our homeland. Actually, in my homeland, I grew up there. Like it's 99% population are Uyghur, Kashgar, Konshar County, and the local government decided that our county will become pig farm in China, not in East Turkestan, in China, entire China. They will prepare, they will work on it. It's humiliating because in our eyes, it's not just an animal. Like, for example, that for like people in Western countries or people are non-Muslim, they think, oh, it's an animal. But for us, it's not only an animal. It's humiliating us. If we choose to do it, it's our business. If you force us to do it, it's a different story. Yeah. It's
exactly
another kind of humiliation. Yeah. Like make you take action, make you angry, make you like, how can I say, yeah, make you disappointed. Another thing, like the same that you are nothing in front of us.
Wow. Okay, the other issue that I wanted to get to today was the deportation or the extradition of Uyghur students from Egypt to East Turkestan. Could you talk a bit more about it? I believe you're also making a list of these students. Is that correct?
Yes, I had been working on it since 2017 in August. They deported more than 20 students deported. Among them, one of them died, Yasinjan from Korla. And after that time, I keep doing this, and until now, I enlisted more than 700 students, and more than like about 20, more than 20 are extradited by Egyptian government, and other students at that time asked local government to come back. They were asked to come back, and they went back to East Turkestan because of they forced to do it. And after they arrived to East Turkestan, all of them arrested, and among them, some of them severely sentenced. For example, that Siddiq, the guy, he studied in Egypt as a university, and he arrested in Urumqi, and he sent to Khotan in 2017 September, and then there he sentenced 20 years. And the other Uyghur students from Egypt, they also sentenced some of them like 20 years, some of them 10 years. And but I don't know how many of them exactly sentenced and how many of them sent to re-education camp. I don't know these cases, but I know some people sentenced and all of them arrested. That's true. And I have their ticket at the time they bought, and I have their passports, and I have their some of them they left their phone numbers, and I have this information about them, and I hope international community will notes this issue, will like save those people, because we said about up to 3 million people arrested in concentration camp and sentenced, but we don't know their names. And we have names, more than 700 Uyghurs. And we can ask Chinese government, where are they? And I think Al-Azhar University should take the responsibility, because they are your students and they registered you as a student. And it's your responsibility to Chinese government that is Islam legal in China? Is studying Islam is legal in China? If it is, why those Uyghur students who study in Al-Azhar University is in concentration camp, or some of them sentenced? I think this is our responsibility. This is our brothers and sisters' responsibility. And this is also like Al-Azhar University's responsibility to ask, where are they? What happened to them?
Yeah, it's amazing. As you mentioned, these Uyghurs are not going to study at places like Egypt or Turkey or in the West, in the United States. They're not joining any sort of terrorist groups. They're studying at recognized, world-renowned institutions. They are legal. They go with student visas, perfectly legal. They have committed no crime, and then they are essentially punished for something that they were given permission for by the Chinese regime in the first place. And this is, like you've mentioned, like you are given permission to go to Hajj, but when you come back, they ask you, why did you go? The Uyghurs hold a Chinese passport. Yeah. So if you are punishing people simply for going and studying overseas, well, why did you let them go in the first place?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. Like when I get to Egypt in 2016, and I found that Egypt is very strict, and like I found it's not normal because of so many polices and armored cars outside. And I told them that you guys should go to Turkey, because the Egypt is not safe anymore. And they told me that we came to Al-Azhar because it's appointed university by Chinese government. It's legal place to study Islam overseas. If we go to Turkey, we will be suspected. And Egypt, because Chinese government appointed us to study, and they already categorized schools like Al-Azhar as a legal university. That's why we are here. If we go to Turkey, it's not legal in Chinese government's eyes. And I said, no, you are wise. It's perfect choice, and it's good choice to study in Egypt. But at the end, what happened? Chinese government sent, like I have even the names of those students sent by Chinese government. Like, who sent them? I have the names. Who sent them? Why they sent them? They selected those Uyghur students and sent them to Egypt. What happened? And then they went back to China and they get arrested. For example, Habibullah Tukhti, he is a poet. He is a quite well-known Uyghur Islamic scholar. He got his PhD in Al-Azhar University. And he went back to China because of Chinese government sent him to study, and then he was arrested and he sentenced 10 years.
Wow.
What will we do? For example, that you sent us to study and then you sent us to prison, and what are you doing? And what's the legal and what's the illegal in your eyes? I wanna ask Chinese government that what's exactly legal and what's exactly illegal. Tell us what to do and what to follow.
Exactly. I mean, it's amazing because they have so many things on paper. In the Chinese constitution, it says you can practice religion, you can practice your culture. You are equal with the 56 nations or the ethnic groups that live within Chinese borders. They're the same and they are protected. But when it comes to practice, clearly the Uyghurs and other minority groups within China are treated as second, third, fourth class citizens. I'll get to you here. So as you mentioned, these institutions like Al-Azhar and the Muslim world in general, even Turkey, for example, they haven't been taking the action that we'd hoped or that we would like for them to take. And it's interesting that we have a lot more action coming from places like the United States. Why? Why is the United States so much more focused on the Uyghur issue, and why aren't the Muslims governments taking this upon like them?
First of all, it's because of economic power. It's money issue. Chinese government are powerful. I visited Egypt. Chinese government powerful in Egypt. I have seen their power there, and they are powerful in Saudi Arabia, and built a railway between Mecca and Medina. Mm-hmm. We have seen it, and in Qatar, the same. So, for example, it's very interesting. It's actually ironic that Chinese government built the largest mosque in, Algeria, Yeah, Algeria. They built the biggest mosque in Algeria. And all of it, all of the issue, all of the relationship are based on Chinese investment, Chinese money. So not now, politicians are talking. Underlyingly, money is talking. That's why our conscience, that's why our voice disappeared, blind, voiceless in front of money. But the problem is, if our Muslim brothers and sisters, if we keep silence like this, and this kind of tragedy will become patent of our Muslim.
Yes.
The world community will think that, yes, it's Muslim is like this. They have tragedy, they have oppression, they have dictatorship. It's part of their life. They will think like that. We don't need to care about it because it's part of their life. They get used to it. Why we take any action? Because they already accept it as part of their life. Why do we take action? So I do believe oppression, dictatorship, torture, humiliation, not part of our life. We are people follow freedom. We are people follow true faith. We are people follow justice. Why we follow the way of money? Why we follow way of dictatorship? Why we follow oppressor? It's not acceptable. It will not acceptable. And if we live like this, it means that we educate our next generation in our way. We will know hope. if we keep silence in front of injustice, in front of oppression, in front of humiliation, we will create our next generation like us. It's very disappointing. Yeah.
Okay. This is something, Uyghur Yardım. This is, I believe, is this your website or charity organization that you've got here? Could you explain to us how we could help the projects or the activism that you do, and where can people, reach you?
It's our website, and we have Uyghur Help in Norwegian organization, and we mainly focus on Uyghur refugees in Turkey. And we have 6 projects, and among them, 5 of them are very related to international community. We have project support Uyghur students, and we have project support Uyghur teenagers, and we have project special skill award. It means that we not only give people fish, we teach them how to fish. Like, we train them to support themselves. And so we have 5 projects are working on right now, and it's going very well, alhamdulillah. But if we have more support, if we have more investment, and we will expand our project, and we will expand our plan. So it's important to work together, and I hope not only help Uyghur refugees in this way, we can help other refugees from East Turkestan, Kazakh and Kyrgyz, and not only refugees in Turkey, and we hope to reach refugees in Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and we hope we can do more. But now we need support, not only with the investment, not only with the funding, with the people. And you can work with us, we can cooperate, and we can do more. And we want to study your way to do this charity, and we want to cooperate, and we want to do more as we wish.
Yeah, guys, many people have been messaging me saying, and they're getting messages from random people saying, look, I have an organization, I have a charity, we help the Uyghurs in East Turkestan. And I want to let you know that you cannot help anyone within East Turkestan, because it's not like any other country where it's like Syria or Palestine, where your aid money can go directly to the people. This is impossible. It's only through organizations like Uyghur Yard. Last week we had Mr. Arkin Siddiq, and he was talking about Huda Vakfa and his project, the Uyghur Project Foundation. If you guys want, message us privately and ask us what we know, who the official, the real non-profit organizations are, and we'll let you know, because there are a lot of fake people out there, and we'll do our best to give you that right information. So please, if you can, help out the Uyghur Yard project and the activism that Mr. Abduweli Ayup does. Mr. Abduweli Ayup, before I leave you, is there anything else that you wanted to mention that I forgot to talk about, or any other questions that you would like to highlight?
I want to highlight that people in East Turkestan in concentration camp, and their situation is very serious. And because of pandemic, and because of Chinese economy is not very well. I don't believe they can support more than 3 million people, because they are staying there, eating there, and it's impossible for them to support those people with hygiene, food, and with healthy equipment and with like other conditions. So the main problem is like I wanna highlight that the prisoners in age, like older aged Uyghur prisoners, should be in concern, because we lost some Uyghur scholars in concentration camp. For example, that Süleyman Damullam from Aktu, he died in concentration camp, and Abdülhamit Damullam, he died in concentration camp, and Abdullah Ahad Damullam, he died in concentration camp. And if we keep silence, if we ignore them, and we will lose their lives. So yes, Black lives matter. Uyghur lives also matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us your time, giving us your insights. Inshallah, we'd like to have you back on the show again in sometime in the future. Guys, make sure you share this video. I made a video a few hours ago. There was a man, as you mentioned, this Black Lives Matter issue. There was a man, he was pushed by some police in, I believe it was Buffalo, and he fell, bleeding from the ear. And that video is 50, 60 million views within a couple of hours. And as I mentioned before, we Uyghurs in East Turkestan, we cannot tweet. And we would like, if we had the opportunity to share those videos, we would. And therefore, the situation would become more real. So what I'm trying to say is that the tools that we have right now, the Uyghurs that are on the outside, these conversations that we're having need to be projected more. And that can only happen when you share, like, reshare, retweet the work that we do. Tell your friends and family, have these conversations going. I want to thank you again, Mr. Abduweli Ayup. And I hope to have you in the future again. Thank you for the guests, the people that are watching live. And please share this video, chop it up, edit it any way you want. Get the message out there. Till next time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.